Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be a reading on 5 life-changing tips from your future self for before 2024. So if you want to change your life between now and then, these are the tips that your future self has. You have this risk card. So for your first tip, it says, success will find you. The odds are in your favor. And, it's also a card of needing to take risks. So I do feel now is a time. I mean, I've been talking to you about this all year, basically, that, a lot of you, I feel, are taking the risk of, kind of exposure. And this makes a lot of sense because we have Pluto going into Aquarius at the end of the year officially. Well, really, kind of like the beginning of next year. And the biggest risk that we all can take during Pluto and Aquarius is like the risk of saying something and being wrong, the risk of putting information out on YouTube and being wrong, basically the risk of exposure or being exposed, and, there's a million ways that this can manifest. But, I've said to you a million times that I think that's the risk that specifically Virgos could be taking in their life, the risk of making a career change and, people making fun of you in your life or telling you you're wrong or whatever. You literally have the Tower to the Star here. This is the in-between tarot, and it represents in between the energies of the two cards. And so, again, I feel for a lot of you, you need to follow that star energy, which is, your North Star. It is something that you want to do, be, have, create, whatever in your life. And I feel like following your North Star is going to be, a quick, ticket to success, a quick, it's not necessarily quick. I feel like it's taken years, but, it will definitely speed up the process that you've been on. So I kind of feel that you need to take the risk, like that risk card says. And it seems to me like the odds are in your favor. I definitely feel you've experienced tower moments, and I also don't think this has to be a bad tower moment. I really feel that some of you could just be kind of like leaving a career behind or, changing your career in some way. So it's not like a bad tower moment. I think you're just moving in a new direction. And again, this is in between the Tower and the Star. The Star represents the healing, so I clearly feel a lot of you could be experiencing a healing. Next, you have the Ten of Swords. This is the Ten of Swords to the Ace of Swords. So for a lot of you, I do feel like there could be a truth coming out. It's interesting, coming up here, you have this card that says Coyote Spirit, trust in divine detours. And for some of you, there could be a truth or a truth that you are starting to understand about yourself. It's like sometimes, I just think there are things maybe in life where we realize we're just never going to be good at it, whatever it is, like some sort of skill, talent, gift, skill, or ability or whatever. Like we all have things that we could focus on that are weaknesses, but really we shouldn't. Do not focus on your weaknesses. And I kind of feel that's what's going on here. It's like you could be releasing something that is, maybe you're just not good at it. I feel like this could be work or business related. Again, and I feel like you're no longer trying to be good at it. I don't know, kind of a weird message. I'm not going to lie. But I also feel like it's a good thing because you could waste a bunch of time trying to, get good at some sort of skill that just isn't going to benefit you anyway. And what do you know? There's a butterfly right there on the card. Would not be a Virgo reading without a butterfly in it. So there you go. Next, you have this 3 of Cups to the 4 of Cups. I do feel there's a celebration coming in for you. I actually feel the opposite of disappointment as well. The 4 of Cups to me can be a disappointing card just in general, but this is the 3 of Cups, but it's the in-between energy. So I feel for a lot of you that you're actually moving towards fulfillment. I feel like something's about to come in for you that isn't going to be a disappointment. That's actually kind of going to go according to plan and is going to lead to a lot of happiness. This definitely could be love because going this way here, you have the Emperor and the Empress, like literally divine counterparts. Going this way here, you have the Emperor and the Queen of Wands. This Queen of Wands is the Queen of Wands to the King of Wands, which is like a very desirable connection. So, definitely divine counterparts. By the way, this is the in-between energy. So it's also the Hierophant and the High Priestess as well, which are also divine counterparts. So, kind of just an interesting thing. We're going to clarify, by the way, with the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. So with the tower there, you have this rebellion card. People are going to feel like you are rebelling against them. Like, whenever you make a change, of course, there are people who don't like it. And I feel like your job is to just not care. It's like, every change I've made on this channel, there's always someone who doesn't like it, but I just have to not listen. And it's not that I don't care. It's just like, if I'm making a change that's going to cause me to grow, and people don't want me to grow, too freaking bad. It's like when I used to, there were a million people that used to complain all the time that I started going live. And then, and because I was growing, basically, like, how dare you grow? How dare you become more successful? But guess what? Those people are losers. I always tell people, yes, there are losers in the world. There are people who just are losers who don't want you to grow. So your job is to rebel against them and just ignore them and not worry about it, plain and simple, and keep growing, right? With the Ten of Swords there, you have this authority card. See, here's the thing. You're becoming your own authority as well. I feel like you no longer need it's almost like you no longer need someone to be like, oh, good job, Virgo, or, oh, yes, you're going in the right direction. You don't need the confirmation anymore. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. I feel like you're becoming your own best friend right here. I mean, Emperor and Empress, we could say that's love, great, but we could also say that you are balancing those two energies out in yourself, the masculine and the feminine, but it's bigger than that. Again, I feel for a lot of you really intuitively what I'm getting here is like your future self. Again, this is the 5 tips your future self wants you to know. And I really feel if you're taking a risk towards something bigger than you, that becoming your own best friend is what your future self is saying here in this first row. Not needing the validation of others is, kind of what I'm getting. And I feel, but you are there. Like, I feel like you are there. So it's a good thing. With the 3 of Cups, you have this endurance card. Yeah, I feel like you're being rewarded for all your hard work. I feel like you're being rewarded for not giving up and, kind of for sticking to your scruples here, for sticking up for yourself. And, I feel you could be seeing some rewards coming in because of it. So, love it, Virgo. Next, for your second tip, you have this card that says, you already know. What you believe to be true is true. Trust your intuition. Seems to be a very intuitive time right now, so I would definitely trust your intuition. Again, I also feel, as far as love is concerned, by the way, just a side note, I feel for some of you, you could be attracting a person, and it's like, I feel like you will have a knowing about this person, or, you will just understand that it's meant to be, or that you are meant to be with this person or whatever. So again, but I feel like it's a real knowing. Like, I think maybe you've had other times in your life where you're like, oh, this is my person. You kind of felt like, oh, I'm going to marry this person or whatever. But I feel like this person, you know on a very deep level that it is your person if you are attracting love. In this row, you have the 10 of Cups, the Emperor, and the 3 of Wands to the 4 of Wands here. So clearly, I feel your future self is saying, if you want love, trust it. This row is clearly about love, and, there could be a very solid connection. So one of your tips is to focus on love. Even if you don't want love, I would focus on love. And I'm not even talking about romantic love here. I'm talking about things that you do love. 10 of Cups is a card of choosing to be happy. This is a card that is the in-between energy of the 10 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is your emotions overflowing. So again, even if you don't want romantic love, and even if you do, I would focus on things that cause you to overflow, things that, cause your energy to overflow, things that bring in fulfillment and happiness. Like, are there hobbies, activities? Are there things that you read? It could be anything, like anything that you consume, any TV or anything like that. Make sure it's things that, bring in that energy of love into your life. You have the Emperor here as well. And again, I do feel like you are becoming, we kind of see this here as well. With the authority card, the Emperor would definitely be the authority. So you are becoming like an authority figure. But I also feel that, again, there could be a divine counterpart right here coming in for you if you want love. You have the 3 of Wands to the 4 of Wands right here. 4 of Wands, of course, is marriage. So some of you could be on this journey. You could see these 2 people walking on this path. And so, again, I feel like you already know the person that you could marry. Or you know of the person, or you are about to know this person, between now and the end of the year. And yeah, it's probably going to be a journey with you and them. You're going on this pathway before you get married. It's not like you're just going to get married to this person. But I feel like it's like a good journey. I think it has, great potential. So if you're attracting love, definitely looks good. The other interesting thing is that these 2 people right here, it's kind of hard to see, but they're both carrying 2 wands each. So it's almost like you're attracting a person where it's like you both bring, your own 2 wands. I don't know why that's important, but it's popping into my head as important. So there you go. Again, same thing. If you don't, really, I do feel this row is talking about love. But if you don't want love, I feel you could be attracting a situation that you commit to that is more balanced. And this could be a job, career, whatever. With the Ten of Cups, here you go. Virgo, Sun in Virgo, right here. The health card. I feel like you're coming up in a very strong position. Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. It is good things happening after a difficult period of time. So I feel there's a lot of happiness and joy coming in for you here. With the Emperor, you have the speculation card. This is Jupiter in Cancer, so I do feel there's a lot of abundance coming in for you. It's funny you have that risk card as well. I feel like it's safe for you to speculate. If you're like attracting a person, you're like, maybe you feel like you're speculating that it's going to go in a good direction, this connection, or maybe you're speculating that this person is the person you're going to marry. I feel like it's true, is what this is kind of like saying. So, don't be afraid to move towards something. Like there's two people up here as well. So it's like there's something divinely guided coming in for you. But it's interesting that, again, you have the Hierophant, the Emperor, and the High Priestess, and the Empress. It's like it's like not only is this going to be a spiritual connection, but it's also like a physical connection as well. So definitely very good. With the Three of Wands, are you kidding? You have this romance card, exactly what I said. I knew that this was mostly about love. So, definitely a strong romantic connection. Could be another Earth sign coming in for you, by the way. And I'm noticing a lot of Earth just in general. So it could be a very romantic connection. Again, if you don't want love, I do feel this reading is saying focus on the feelings of love, like things that you love to do. It's just going to bring in more abundance for you just in general. And again, even if you do want love, I would be doing that as well. For your next tip, you have this card that says, don't fear a blank canvas. Use it to turn your life into a masterpiece. Yes, I feel like you are definitely one of the signs that could be turning your life into a masterpiece in general. I think everyone has the opportunity with Pluto and Aquarius, but I feel like there are a couple of signs that have just like a little bit extra of an opportunity. You, Pisces, Leo, there's a couple others as well. But, anything you can do to, exceed your own expectations is what your future self wants you to do over the rest of the year. This could be just, accomplishing a goal that's hard, pushing yourself past a point where you would normally give up on something like a project or a business. We all do this. Again, not a criticism at all. I've done it a million times. Like I work to a certain point on things and I give up and I start something else, right? So I feel like this is saying, can you just push it a little bit past that point and build a masterpiece? Maybe you want to do something hard. Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to, create something new the world has never seen, or start a YouTube channel. Like now is the time to do it. You have the Queen of Wands, the Four of Wands. Oh, how interesting. You go Three of Wands, Four of Wands right here with the High Priestess to the Empress right here as well. So I feel like you're very attractive at this time, is what I would say. It doesn't matter what gender you are. This is the Queen of Wands, the King of Wands. And really, I feel this energy is encouraging you to be bold and assertive. I always say both the Queen and King of Wands are very assertive, very courageous. They come up with an idea, some sort of masterpiece that they want to create in their life, and they would charge towards it without any hesitation. So whatever you're creating, I feel like you need to be courageous. There is a difference between the two. Queen of Wands, she is taking a risk and she has no protection from risk. So she's taking a risk, but she is more doing things because she wants to do them. And, that's the whole point of the Queen of Wands. She doesn't care what anyone thinks. She's going to do what she wants to do. King of Wands is more like a builder. He more like treats things as if they are like a baby. You have a gigantic ass baby on this card right here. So if you are starting anything new, I don't care what it is, some sort of masterpiece in your life, the King of Wands really kind of nurtures things into existence. He really, really cares about the things that he cares about. And we're talking about the highest vibration form of the King of Wands. So I feel like the tip here is like whatever you're trying to create in your life, whatever masterpiece you're trying to bring into the world, that really, really focusing on it is going to be very important for you. You have the Four of Wands to the Five of Wands. It's kind of funny because I do feel some of you are conflicted about relationships with this card. So, just a side note, again, maybe you need to work on that energy if you want love in your life in the first place. But as far as turning your life into a masterpiece is concerned, I feel this is saying don't be afraid of something where there is a lot of competition. Again, I always say that it is my belief that we are moving from competition to co-creation, but that does not mean that competition is going anywhere. It just means that co-creative energy is being rewarded. So there's always going to be competition. And I do feel some of you want to create, or you are wanting to enter into something where there could be a lot of competition. Could be a new career, could be a new business, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And I feel like this is saying, who cares? If something is for you, it's for you. People ask me all day long about YouTube, and they ask me, like, I want to start a tarot channel. Should I do it? There's a lot of people that do it. I'm like, yeah, but if something is for you, it's for you. It doesn't matter if 900 people, 1,000 people, 1 billion people are doing it. If you're meant to do it, it's my belief that it doesn't matter how many people are doing it, right? So, again, I feel there could be a lot of competition towards this masterpiece, whatever you're creating, but who cares? If it's for you, it's for you. And it is for you, is what this reading is saying. You have this High Priestess to the Empress. Yeah, I feel like you need to trust your intuition. Funny enough, both cards kind of represent potential, more so the High Priestess. High Priestess has no roof over her head, and so it kind of represents the fact that, something that she is imagining has unlimited potential. The only thing that's stopping her is her. The Empress, she kind of represents creation, so she's willing to create something that she feels has potential. And that's exactly what you need to do. Again, when you think about it, a baby has potential. As babies, we are a result of the environment we are raised in, right? You could take twins, right? You could raise them in greatly different environments, and they're going to turn out completely different because of the environment they're raised in. So again, I'm not talking about a baby here, although it could be, but I think for a lot of you, this is saying there's something that you want to create in this world, and it's like the environment that surrounds it is what is going to be important here. So make sure you're giving yourself the best chance of success. I'm hearing like dress for success. I don't think it's like literally dress for success. I think it's just saying, make sure that you give something the best chance of survival, and I don't know. I don't really have any good, I don't really have any good examples for you, but it's like, try to make something the best that it can be, right? It's like, people ask me about YouTube all the time. I'm always like, well, you need to, a lot of people are worried about their camera, but I always tell people, actually, the number one thing you need to worry about, scientifically proven, by the way, is your audio, right? So it would be much better for you to worry about that than it would be the video, number one. But number two, it's like, I understand, like, if you're working on some sort of big masterpiece, obviously you're not going to have like crazy audio. Like my audio system is thousands of dollars, right? Everything that I have here, it's crazy. So way overkill, right? And obviously you're not going to probably start there, but there are cheap options that sound pretty much just as good as this nowadays, especially, right? It wasn't always this way. Nowadays, especially, there are systems and things you can use that are relatively inexpensive. So, I feel like this is saying, whatever you're working on, try to give it the best chance of survival by doing the best. And again, you have to grow to these levels. I always tell people as well, like, don't get discouraged if you want to start a YouTube channel and you don't have a crazy camera and everything like that. Number one, your cell phone is good enough, especially nowadays. Like, if you have an iPhone, or even just like some like Samsung phones are ridiculous. So, a phone is more than enough, right? For you to get started, and then you build up to what you want. And I feel like that's what this is saying. With the Queen of Wands, you have this negotiation card here. Again, I feel like saying no negotiation, which I feel like I say it to you all the time. Like, I feel like you need to go straight for something, not like, don't settle. I really feel we are in a time where we need to be unapologetic in what we go for. I think the worst thing we can do is try to apologize for the things that we want. Like, oh, if you want to be a billionaire, just go be a billionaire. Who cares what anyone thinks? Of course, people aren't going to like it, but those people are losers, right? Most of the people that don't want you to be a billionaire are probably losers because they can't see themselves doing it. So don't even focus on it, right? But on top of that, I feel like you need to go straight for it. If that's what you want, that's what you go for, and you don't settle until you get there, until you accomplish whatever you want. And I'm not saying it has to be $1 billion, but it's like there's something that you want to accomplish here, and I feel like you need to go straight for it and don't settle for less. With the Four of Wands, you have this extremism card. Yeah, I would be careful of extremism. Again, at the end of the year, well, what I will say is in 2026, we have Neptune moving into Aries, which is extremism, literally. We will see extremism kind of pop back up, probably, with Neptune and Aries. And really, I think more in the form of cults. Again, it is my belief. If you look at history, when we've had Neptune and Aries, it's like the rise of cults, people just developing crazy beliefs. But kind of like on a personal level, if you're not going to join a cult, which don't, number one, maybe you could start a cult, but don't join one. What I would say is that during as far as personal beliefs are concerned, it's like we need to make sure that we're more centered, especially over the next like 20 years plus, right? I always say that it's probably better to just it's not even about sitting on a fence. It's about just everything in the world will either seem super good or super bad, but it's probably really in the middle. So I tell people, like, try to be as balanced as possible, especially over the next 20 years, because again, everything on the news is going to be super bad. They're just going to get worse and worse and worse because they're getting less and less attention. What do? they're babies. They just scream louder and louder and louder, right? Just like in politics, same thing. We are going to see crazier and crazier and crazier politics because they're losing attention. People aren't paying attention to them anymore, right? So I tell people, just like, don't worry about it, right? Number one, because most of it probably isn't real or is fabricated or whatever in the first place. But number two, focus on your own life. Make your own life the best that it possibly can be, and spread as much love and happiness as you can. As hippy dippy as that sounds, right? Do it anyway, because the world needs more of that. Again, there's going to be again, sky is falling times a million. I always tell people, don't take part in it. It's better to spread love, joy, happiness. And trust me, I have people come at me all the time saying like, oh, you support Trump because of what I just said. And when I literally just said, don't take part in politics, right? And people will be like, oh, but politics are important. I'm like, okay, name one thing that politics has done that's like positive down below. Name one thing that they've made better. You can't do it, plain and simple. So, what I would say here is, again, I spread the message of make your own dent in the universe, spread love, joy, happiness, create as much as you can and as much abundance as you can, because that's what we need right now. With the High Priestess, you have the Secrets card. This is actually a pretty good card. It's Venus and Scorpio, and it's not like secrets as in things that are hidden. It's about, if things are mysterious to you, High Priestess, mystery, learn about them, because your intuition could be trying to capture your attention by making something mysterious. It could be like an idea for a new career direction or something like that. And if you move in that direction, the mystery is like kind of dragging you into it, and it could be creating abundance for you, or it could be dragging you towards something that is important. Sorry about that, Virgo. These readings are too long. All my cameras died at once. So next, for your fourth tip from your future self, you have this Coyote Spirit. It says, trust in the divine detours. I think we are in a time of divine detours. You try to do something, doesn't work, you get led in a new direction. I also think that, there are people... I would test things out. I always say that I think it's a time of experimentation. You have the Eight of Wands to the Nine of Wands here in this row. And the Nine of Wands to me is a card of like throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So the thing is, if you think it could be anything. Maybe you want to move somewhere and you think, oh, I'm just going to move there. I would test it out first, because, there's a lot of fantasy still in the astrology. We have Neptune and Pisces, right? And so, if you just move somewhere that you've never been to, you might actually find out you hate it. So I always tell people, it's don't create this fantasy in your head of oh, I'm going to move to this location I'm just using that as an example. This could be anything. And I feel like you need to trust in the signs, the symbols, the synchronicities with any change that you want. So again, I think the tip that your future self is offering here for the rest of the year is to kind of experiment any change that you think you want to make and see how it goes. And follow the detours as well. It's you might think you want to move to, I don't know, Tennessee, and maybe you drive through North Carolina and you fall in love with North Carolina. This is move to North Carolina. It says, the universe could be guiding you through detours, literally, but this could also be in business as well. It's maybe you start a business to do YouTube, and maybe you hate YouTube, but while you're doing it, you write scripts and you find out you're a really good writer. Start writing, start a blog, right? It's that's the type of energy that I get here, but you have to explore to find this. I do feel like this is a very general row right here. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. I feel like this is what you're looking for, is something that you can do endlessly. That's the thing about the Ace of Cups, is that it's a self-filling cup. It's something that you can do all day long without getting tired. So, what I would say here with the Ace of Cups is it's can you find something that provides endless amounts of energy? And you're going to have to explore to find it, and there will be detours along the way. So don't be afraid to experiment through something, which is kind of what I feel here. You have the Eight of Wands to the Nine of Wands. Again, Nine of Wands is my card of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. But I feel like your future self is saying there's some goal or something that you want to achieve here, and you have to go through the process. Don't think that you can just rush to the finish line, right? And this is a good thing. It makes your life more exciting. You can explore more. You can have more experiences. And so I think sometimes people need to realize that, again, as cliche as it sounds, it really is the journey. It's not the destination, right? So, I think a lot of you need to kind of remember that. I always think of like, it's like years ago I moved to Seattle with my brother, and it's like we really wanted to live there, and but we were like super poor at the time, and we had no money. But it's like those times were like some of the best times of my life, like living in an apartment, just scraping by, right? And so, like I miss that now that I don't have to struggle. So, as weird as that sounds, right? So I kind of feel that's what this is saying. I'm not saying you're struggling or anything like that, but I feel like it's saying, enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, enjoy even the detours and the warning signs and symbols and all that other good stuff. You have the Queen of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles here. Yeah, I feel like you're getting your money in order. It does seem to me like you could be increasing your finances as well. Queen of Pentacles is very focused. She is resourceful. So she focuses on being resourceful, but it's like you're going from having to be resourceful to getting resources. So, which is the King of Pentacles. He just has resources basically. And so, it seems to me like maybe I was talking about the struggle. It seems to me like you're getting away from like struggle energy and stepping into something much better. With the Queen of Pentacles here, you have this lust card. I do feel also there could be a very lusty connection coming in for you. Everybody's had this. Or something similar here in these readings. So there could be a very lusty connection. It could also be like some of you could be attracting love that maybe you feel is a little distracting, or you're worried that you will get distracted. But again, I don't know. I would go for it. Sometimes when we're not looking for love, it shows up. And, maybe it's just a really good person who you really want to be with. So, there you go. With the Eight of Wands here, you have this flirtation card, very interesting. Again, I'm wondering if love is a detour. Some of you might be saying the detour here could just be love. You could be saying like, oh, I want to start this career and, go get this business. But, maybe someone who just looks too good shows up and you just can't ignore it, right? Maybe you're like, you know what? I have to give it, I can't let this pass me by. I have to give this a chance. So, that definitely could be happening for you here. I don't really feel it's a bad thing either. It's like this isn't some detour that's going to like ruin your life. I feel this is a good thing, clearly. It's something that is going to lead to something really good. With the Ace of Cups, you have this ostentation card. See, this card is about being able to tell the difference between something that is real and something that is fake. I feel like you're getting something that is very real. It's very realistic. It's kind of funny because I feel like you're attracting something that has flaws. I feel like you're attracting something, but it's like if this is a person, for example, they own their flaws. They know they have flaws. They know they're not perfect, and they don't try to be perfect, right? And, I actually feel like that can be a good thing in relationships. Why? Because most of the time you get into a relationship with a person and they aren't even the person that they claim to be. That's the problem, because they have flaws. So they try to cover them up, right? I feel like this person, it's like they're take it or leave it. They are who they are, and you know exactly what you're getting with this person. So I don't know. There's like a certain level of comfort. I sometimes think that this is a good thing. It's funny because, sometimes I think about this a lot in advertising. I worked in advertising for a very long time, had my own advertising company, and I still work in advertising to this day for other things. And it's always funny to me how there will be like, one thing I've noticed is that like, sometimes we'll run ads that will be like perfect, and they do terribly. We'll run another ad where there's like spelling mistakes and things like that, and it always does way better, right? And I don't know why this is popping into my head, but it's almost popping into my head that's what I mean by flaws. It's like sometimes something can be too perfect and it doesn't work, and then there can be something else that has its flaws, that has its mistakes, but because of it's like that's what makes it successful. I don't know. That's kind of like popping into my head here, and but also, I feel like it's like a very real person if you're attracting love. If this might not be love, this might be like a business where, again, it's like I think the flaws might be things that you have to do that you might not necessarily enjoy doing, but also the fact that you can do it for the business is proof that you should be doing it, because, it's like you don't necessarily want to do it, but how you see it is the reason why you should do it. I don't know, very weird. I don't know, take that how it resonates. There you go. Next, for your fifth thing that you need to pay attention to, you have the Seagull card. It says, look at the bigger picture, bird's eye view. Yeah, definitely time to get the bird's eye view. I feel like you need to put your life into perspective as well. Like, where do you see yourself in the future? What do you want out of life? And I feel you need to kind of like weigh up what's important, weigh up what's not important, and just get rid of the rest, right? You have the Knight of Cups here, the Six of Pentacles, and the Temperance card. This is the Knight of Cups to the Queen of Cups, and so there definitely could be love coming in for you. But, you know, the Knight of Cups, he's normally looking into his cup on like a traditional Knight of Cups, and he's dreaming of his future life. So it can represent love, but for you, I feel it's big picture energy, things that you want to grow. Normally, he's standing in the desert, but there's water flowing in front of him, so he could easily plant seeds in that water, and they will, or in front of the water, and they will grow. So it kind of, again, goes back to resourcefulness with that Queen of Pentacles. It might, seem in your life like you don't have what you need, but you actually do. And you have the Six of Pentacles, which is literally my card of planting seeds. So for a lot of you, I feel you need to start planting seeds, start experimenting. Like I said, whatever grows, double down on it. The things that don't grow, get rid of it, plain and simple. You have the Temperance card. This is the Temperance card to the Devil. I feel like it's saying, like, don't try to fix things that are clearly stealing from you. I don't really feel anything is stealing from you. I think this is, like, there could be things that kind of steal your time or that steal your energy, and I would make sure to avoid those things at this time. I also feel like you need to, like, I think, like, careers steal from people sometimes, right? It's like if you want to have a family, but your career has prevented you from meeting a person, maybe it's not a good idea to have a career, or maybe you need to go get a career that allows you to have the time to meet a person to have a family with. That's just one example. Maybe you have a career where you have to drive 4 hours to work every single day, both ways. And, it's like, obviously, that is a huge time suck, right? So I kind of feel like that is saying, look at the big picture, make sure that the things you're doing are in alignment with, like, your perfect day. With the Knight of Cups, you have this Principle card. Yeah, if you are attracting love, definitely attracting a person who has good principles, and again, I feel like you need to look at your own principles. Like, are the things that you're doing, do they match up with your principles, like what you actually believe in life? With the Six of Pentacles, you have this Restlessness card. You need to start experimenting. If you are feeling restless, I feel you need to channel that energy so that you're not, like, wasting it. I actually feel like restless energy can be destructive if we don't do anything with it, but it can also be very constructive if we take that energy and put it into a project or a business or whatever. So get that energy out. With the Temperance card, you have this Acquisition card. Definitely probably attracting another Earth sign. I mean, you have about 900 Taurus cards here. You have a couple of Capricorn cards as well. So, take it how it resonates, but I definitely feel this is my fancy couple card. You could be attracting, like, a person, very fancy type of connection. But all in all, this is a very good reading here, Virgo. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy the rest of the year.